Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are about to start this session of the Iran Tribunal. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the judges of Iran Tribunal. همه بلند شید لطفاً. Please be seated. The Honorable Judge Kriegler presiding Iran Tribunal session begins.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first day of the last session of a project that has been going for some years now. This session, which will continue until Saturday afternoon, is concerned with the judicial or a quasi-judicial hearing of the evidence of some 20 witnesses and argument, closing argument at the end, opening argument today by a team of prosecutors. The tribunal is, as I have said, the last phase of a 2-year plus process. That process included a very long and very intensive session earlier this year, in the course of which a commission heard the evidence of some 70 witnesses. That evidence has been compiled, translated into English, bound into a booklet, and is available to the tribunal. The tribunal will consider that evidence, as well as the evidence that is to be adduced in the next few days, as, of course, the argument which will contextualize all of that evidence. The members of the tribunal are uncommitted to any particular social, political, ideological, ethical, or ethnic, or any other grouping in the world. We are all individuals. We are largely strangers to one another. We have, some of us, occasional contact with one another, but we do not constitute any kind of a unity. We will be hearing this evidence and the arguments presented as individuals who are skilled in the law, experienced in the law, particularly in relation to international law, international criminal law, and I will introduce the members of the tribunal to you very, very briefly right now. Starting at the extreme far end is Michael Mansfield, QC, Queen's Counsel from the United Kingdom, a prominent United Kingdom human rights lawyer, professor of and fellow of law in the United Kingdom, active member of Amnesty, Liberty, founder member of Interrights. He's a juror in the Russell Tribunal on Israeli violations of international law. He's the chair of the People's Inquiry into the interstate violence in Northern Ireland. He is familiar with this vicinity. He's a lawyer at the ICTY in The Hague, and he represents the defendants accused of war crimes. Next to him is Professor Makau Mutwa, a Kenyan by origin, qualified at the University of Nairobi, the University of Dar es Salaam, then went on to Harvard. He is currently professor of law at the State University of New York in Buffalo. He has written extensively on human rights, international law, and international business transactions. He played a prominent role in the constitutional transformation of his country of birth. He is of the CFR. Next to me here, a woman of, according to the note she passed me, infinite modesty, unjustified modesty. Margaret Ratner-Kunstler from New York, a lifelong human rights activist lawyer. She practices criminal and civil rights law in the United States, is on the board of MADRE, an international women's human rights organization, and feisty liberation lawyer. On my left, Patricia Sellers, professor of law, an international criminal lawyer, fellow at Oxford University, former prosecutor and legal advisor for gender at the ICTY. Professor Sellers brings to this tribunal a wealth of experience in human rights law, international criminal law. She is a national of the United States and of Belgium. And on the far right, Professor John Dugard, your right, my left, Professor John Dugard, South African, now resident in this part of the world, professor who's active in the protection and promotion of human rights in apartheid South Africa, Special UN Rapporteur on the human rights situation in the occupied Palestinian territories, a juror on the Russell Tribunal on Palestine, presently a judge ad hoc of the International Court of Justice. Lastly, myself, I am Johan Kriegler, a retired judge of the Constitutional Court of South Africa, played a role in the transition of my country from apartheid to democracy, and have been active in various other parts of the world in that kind of transition. We are honored to be here, and we hope to serve the people of Iran and of the world with honesty and integrity, and welcome to all of those who have an interest. May I ask that all cell phones be switched off. Thank you.